stream. So first of all, hello everybody. This is Steph McPhee, your community and well, just the guide of pretty much anything I can do for you guys. Sorry, I'm trying to watch all this. There's messages flying today. It's so funny from all aspects. But we're so excited to have you here for us. We missed talking to you guys last week, but we did take a break in honor of the Memorial holiday and weekend. And so we're glad to have you guys back with us for our Monday Town Hall. And a couple of housekeeping notes as you guys are coming in. We've got a really great crowd today, so we're so excited to have you all here. Yes, this is our webinars are one way. We're going to be delivering information, updates, and chatting with you. You do not have voice or video, but you do have the chat. You can raise your hand, ask questions. We encourage you. All of us are monitoring this for each other. So while one person's talking, the others are monitoring. So we're going to be here and making sure that we get all of your answers, all your questions answered. We also do provide the chat later, so do not fret if you miss a link or anything from conversation. We do send out all the chat notes. So thank you guys again for joining us. And if this is your first time, a lot of these names look familiar. So again, we're so glad to have you. But if it happens to be your first time joining us, just to give you an idea of what we're going to do today, we go around and we give you updates from WBEC, from around all of our corners of the state, anything that we might be hearing that could help you in your business, especially during this time. And then we also have every time now started adding in a development opportunity. And so we're so excited. Nancy's going to talk to us today and give some expertise on how to be an expert. So it's going to be a really great session. And with that, I'm actually going to hand it over to you, Nancy, because WBEC has something really big starting today.
Yes, there's lots of interesting things going on with WBEC, and if you haven't received the emails, they started advertising their pitch competition. So the pitch competition is usually held at the Summit and Salute in the national conference, but as you know, both have been canceled due to our pandemic. And so WBEC is trying its best to still have the pitch competitions. And there's $100,000 in prize money at stake. Not for just one winner, but I think for up to 5 winners. So be sure to go onto the WBEC website, and we'll be posting. I know Steph has sent some information out as well, but you can pitch your business, something that's innovative and all about pivoting your business. And they're doing it in a modified round robin format where everybody is invited to pitch. At first, I think it's 90 seconds. And then there's voting that's going to happen. And then from the top voters, they'll get to have 3-minute pitches. And that'll be a panel of judges, WBEC sponsors, community leaders, et cetera, that will be participating in the judging. And as I said, there's $100,000 of prize money. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. And also the really great news is that between now and the pitch competition, WBEC is going to have some pitch lab Zoom meetings. So if you want to, get the latest and greatest information on how to best pitch to win, you want to be on the lookout for those as well. And we'll keep you updated. And if you don't receive something from us, go directly to the WBEC website, wbec.org. Look for our emails that come out a couple of times a week, or you can go directly to our website at webecflorida.org as well. Okay, so Diane, why don't we start with you? Tell us what's going on in Orlando.
Okay, well, the everything is starting to open back up a little bit, and so there are all kinds of resources from Orlando Economic Partnership and from the National Entrepreneur Center on how to reopen safely. So if you are taking your employees out of hiding and putting them back into the office, things like that. Me personally, I work at home, but I've been working with Disney to see what they're up to about their reopening. And I know that, you know, all the theme parks are taking very, very uh, big pains to make sure that they open safely. So um, the first theme park to open is Universal, and that opens this week. I have some friends who work there, and they're already in doing their training because these are all actors, and they have to remember their lines. You know, it's been so long since they were there, so they're doing that. And then SeaWorld will open next. Legoland, I think, opened yesterday. SeaWorld will open next, and then Disney will open in mid-July in a phased approach of reopening. So what's happening is as they open, you know, they will start maybe working with us again on how to get contracts and things like that, all these theme parks. Very interesting. So I will put in the chat some of the reopening tips. I'm sure you all probably have read them, but if you haven't, I'll put some links to those tips on how to reopen safely.
Okay, thank you. Steph, you want to go ahead and tell us what's happening in North Florida?
Yeah, so just to jump on, if I think some of you might have come on when Nancy and I were talking. So again, I want to just jump in and remind everybody that, of course, we're in the middle of preparation for hurricane season. So make sure that you are taking care. You know, we're still in tax-free right now, I think till the 4th. So make sure you're getting out and getting anything you need for your business as well. Don't, you know, think about home, but also think about business. And then Nancy mentioned we'll do potentially some things there to get into a conversation, because as I've been hearing up here in North Florida, I'm sure you guys are having the same, as businesses are having to think about it a little differently because of the pandemic as well, as to what we're going to do. The other thing I wanted to mention, it's just a little bit of a side note, I'm sure everybody else may be, but all of our city councils are also posting up here. We are in a dire situation of needing blood. So if you're able to go to anywhere to donate blood, I know that's a complete side, but it's posted. When I checked all the updates this weekend, it was everywhere about all of our counties up here. And of course, with the pandemic and with hurricane season. So if you get a chance to do that. But as Diane was mentioning, you know, we're all in a situation here, big announcement going on right now about rentals opening. I know that impacts a lot of people in our marketplace up here. Whether you're a cleaning business or a marketing business or whatever, as businesses are opening, that's going to impact you. But again, I just want to reiterate, as Diane says, make sure that you're also going out and getting those resources. I saw something new in Volusia County, and I'm going to post that link up there, that there are places to get some free signage and things as well that could really help in your business. And so I think that's something I definitely wanted to mention, because obviously a lot of this stuff can be expensive. So they just had some simplistic signs, but like the masks, it's good to check around in your county. I do just simple searches and put in the county name and entrepreneurship, and you'll be amazing what kind of resources will come out. And I just put in Volusia County entrepreneurs, and just a wealth of things come up. But I thought I really wanted to share that they are going to have some places to get some just simple signs, you know, 6 feet and all that kind of stuff, simple cleaning measures. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I am seeing a lot more of the organizations up here starting to potentially step up and do some in-person. But again, because those are going to be limited, if there is an organization and you are looking to go out and do some networking, make sure that you're at the top of the list, because they're going to fill up rather quickly, because again, we're still under limitations of how many people can go to events. But I did notice a couple of the women's networking organizations up in Jacksonville, here in Flagler, and then, you know, in some other markets. But again, they're going to be limited. It's kind of going to be the first 20 or whatever, how many can fit in the space that sign up will get a chance to go. And so if you are looking for that, my recommendation is make sure you're signed up for those lists, and don't hesitate. If there's a group you've been wanting to go see in person, sign up as quickly as possible. But that was the biggest I saw recently, was that. The other thing is that every county up here, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys are all doing, but aside from the state and the federal and all the different things, I saw Volusia County has set aside their own grant program, as well as I think I announced last time we were together that Jacksonville and Flagler have both, not Flagler, St. Johns County have both released their own independent grant programs for businesses in this market. A lot of them are based on how many employees you have, and there's a few different ones. So most of them around here are 100 employees or less, or 50 employees or less, where they are for the smaller. And it may be $500, $1,000, but they're really trying to get out there. So again, we'll post all these links for you so that you can make sure. But you know, if I were you, look into it, especially these grants, you know, apply for anything you think you might qualify for. It can't hurt, especially grants, because those are very different than loans. And if you work in any of these counties, definitely, again, my recommendation is put in your county name and just put the word entrepreneur next to it in a search, and you will find so many resources. And that's what I've been doing every Saturday to kind of see what announcements I need, or every day if I think about it. So yeah, so that's really it from up here. Again, just asking everybody to stay safe. More and more things are opening. They're starting to get ready to welcome tourists in our marketplace, as Diane said, into Orlando as well. The good thing about that is that, again, hopefully we'll start seeing some more outreach for you guys as businesses are opening and needing services and the like. So, you know, just stay tuned to our page and all that email. I know it's 3 emails a week. We're trying to keep the email to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that you know exactly, they come out just those 3 days, and we try to put everything we can think of. So they may seem a bit long, but again, it's just trying to get you the best information we can. So have a great week, and welcome to June, right guys? We made it another month.
Thanks, Steph. So Joanna, has the lawnmower passed, and can you talk now, or do you want us to come back to you?
So yeah, between the lawnmower and the trimming here at my Airbnb in Venice, I'm gonna try to make it through. But I did find a lot of resources, ladies, those of you in Tampa, and I wanted to be sure to share that with you, even though I am on a little getaway with my son and boys and husband. So I wanted to start off by saying, yes, a lot of things are starting to reopen. And more importantly, what has not stopped is construction. And in Tampa, construction is a big project that is going on in all sorts of places. So not only is Moffitt Cancer Center opening, and they've had their bid online opportunities for you to hear what they need, but also USF is partnering with Bar & Bar Construction, and they are moving forward. So I do receive emails with their updates on their projects, on what they're doing. So feel free to email me if you're interested in getting on that database. But you never know, you know, in the construction industry, what it is they're looking for. So with that, also the SBDC, the resource, the Small Business Development Council in Tampa, and they have a lot of resources that are free for you. So one of the things that they are doing right now is they are offering COVID-19 resources available for you. You know, if you're wondering how to get back and opening your business, what precautions do you need to take before you open up your doors to avoid lawsuits or things like that? They are there for you. And then also, they are doing a service right now for free, which is all about your team and training and reconnecting. You know, we have been apart for quite a while, and now that teams are starting to come together, you know, what will that look like? How will you build that team rapport? And I believe it's called Turbo Change Your Team. And so it's an assessment that you take, and they are offering that free right now. And then also with SBDC is they have on-demand videos that are free for anyone to watch. I can add that link also into the chat box, but there was one on Instagram about Instagram and how to you know, post your business on Instagram and how that looks like compared to like Facebook and all the different features that Instagram has. And it was only 20 minutes long. And what's nice with the on-demand videos is you don't have to sign up for a training and wait for the link. You know, it's just there for you whenever you want to hop on. And the SBA is also offering videos as well. I recommend signing up for their database to be filled with lots of up-to-date knowledge of what's going on with businesses. And the Working Women of Tampa Bay, this is an organization that Jessica Ravelli runs, and they are going to be starting to do some in-person meetups and events. So be on the lookout for that if you're looking for you know, a network of women that get together and meet in Tampa. So that's the Working Women of Tampa Bay. And then also the Hillsborough County put out a survey to kind of gauge their citizens and residents as to how they feel about COVID-19 and the effects to it. And what's pretty interesting with the survey is that the results are given to you right away. And it's interesting to see, you know, that one of the questions is, you know, how likely are you, or what are your most fears with COVID-19? And one of the biggest answers was that people were afraid that other people were not going to go out wearing masks. And so that is kind of interesting to see, you know. So and then it was, I think there was like a 5% of the people will not are not afraid at all about COVID-19. So that's such a small percentage of the people who took the survey to not be afraid at all, you know, about COVID. So that was just something that I thought was interesting. So definitely check out that survey. And the last thing I wanted to share was more on the fun side. June 6th is National Trails Day. And some of our Florida state parks and city trails have been closed through this time and are starting to open up. So, you know, it's good for you to take your family out on a nice trail. There's a lot of shaded ones in the Tampa Bay area. And your staff, you know, encourage them to get out and get some fresh air. And that's June 6th, National Trails Day. So that's it for me here in Tampa.
Great, great, great. And you'll be including all those resources, right? For
Yes.
in the chat. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Emily, how about you? What's going on in your area?
Hello, everyone. I would like to follow on the coattails of Joanna to let you know that as far as trails go, St. Lucie County has over 11,000 acres of natural preserves and county parks and so forth. So if you want to trail down into celebrate June 6th down in St. Lucie, we welcome you. After you start in Tampa, come down this way. So we have some wonderful trails, which sometimes I show on my Facebook every now and again. But anyway, so that's very important to do. And as a matter of fact, it's really, I think, a valuable thing to highlight because people are so stressed and they're so wondering where to go or where they can't go. You can go to those places and usually, most of the time, there's hardly anyone there. So you can recharge in that environment. So as far as the business side goes, also in Fort Pierce in St. Lucie County, we are having sidewalk dining. Actually, it's dining going into the streets. They're calling it a parklet. And I'm sure, I guess, other places are doing something similar, but where they're kind of cordoning off a portion of the street so that restaurants can flow into the street and accommodate more people as a result. So it's kind of interesting to go around town and see how they're partitioning things where cars would normally be. People are now sitting there. So that's another way, and people are just being more creative, as we can all attest to dealing with this situation. And let's see now, I have a bunch of resources for you today. One is the Florida Virtual Entrepreneur Center, which many people may be aware of. It's flvec.com, and I will post the links. And what's interesting about them is that they have by segment of the state, by county, resources for your area. So for example, here on the Treasure Coast for Martin County, there's a page dedicated to Martin County resources, Indian River, St. Lucie County, Okeechobee, and so on. So all throughout the state. So that's the Florida Virtual Entrepreneur Center. They also have opportunities for virtual networking for entrepreneurs. So you'll find a wealth of information if you visit that website of resources that may be of interest on different levels by county. Then we have, speaking of grants, there are a lot of grant opportunities going on, and one is in Palm Beach County. They've recently launched their, what is it now? It's called their Restart Business Grants, and it's being offered by the Housing and Economic Sustainability Department of Palm Beach County. And so they are offering up to $25,000, subject to funding availability, of course, of grants. So I will post a link for what the eligibility requirements are for that. But that's one to be aware of. And then finally, I want to share that I received a whole list of other grant opportunities that includes, and there are too many to list all of them, but I'll just share a few. The Tory Burch Foundation has grants for women-owned businesses. Facebook even has some small business grants. The Verizon Small Business Recovery Fund, they're giving $10,000 to businesses who can apply or be eligible for that. Shea Moisture Community Commerce Fund and the Visa Foundation, they're all, so what the trend here is, check to see if large companies are giving grants, because apparently many of them are. And maybe just do a search, grants, and pick a brand that maybe you, or a company name or something like that. And I think we'll find a lot of these resources. So, for example, FedEx is also giving small business grants. And let's see, yeah, and then there are grants for older Americans to help them do different things as well. So it's actually an email list that I received. So I'm not sure how to share every single link, but I will share as much as I can of it so people can find the information.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Emily. And maybe if you send that to Steph, she can send it out in one of our emails as well.
Perfect, I will. Okay. Thanks. Yes.
All right, so that's pretty much an overview of what's going on around Florida. And thanks for sharing all this great information. And I love, Joanna and Emily, thank you so much for the information about getting out, because as you know, we are all about, you know, your personal and your professional life, right? And as servant leaders, that's what you should be about too as business owners. It's not only about working on your business, but it's about looking up and out, right? And looking at, for ways that you can make things happen, not only for you, but for your employees and their families. That shows appreciation, it shows concern, and it helps with stress levels and all of that. So I do encourage you. And Joanna, I think you said the day was June 6th. That's the National Trails Day. Yeah.
Yeah, this Saturday.
Yeah. So look around your area to see if there are any special activities that are happening. Okay. So thanks for that. And with that, I think we're going to start our mini presentation. So Steph, I'm going to ask you to share your screen for us so that I don't have to worry about moving and losing the presentation. And the purpose of this presentation, everyone, is really just to give you a taste and, you know, some ideas to think about in, you know, the next 15 or so minutes. We're not going to have time to get into every single one of these 10 ways you can claim expert status, but just enough for you to think about how you might be able to use one or more of these ideas for you to be able to grow your business. So the mini presentation is 10 ways to claim expert status, and believe me, you do want to do that. And let me start by saying that you know, our motto is that we certify, we connect, and we champion women in business. And in the spirit of connecting and championing women in business, we communicate a lot with our corporate partners and our sponsors. And time again, they tell us that the best way to get noticed by them is to set yourself apart, right? To do something that's unique, to offer some kind of a unique solution. And so some of these tips that I'm going to share come mostly from them. They want to know what you're doing and work these into your pitch. And again, you can contact us directly if you want more resources and information about these tips, or even if you just want to have a conversation about them. We're always, all five of us on the phone here are happy to help you in any way that we can. Okay, so Steph, if you'll go to the first slide. So this is just like an overview of the 10 steps. So 1 is acceptance, 2, uniqueness, 3 is white papers. Go ahead to the next. 4th is writing a book. 5 is speaking. Number 6 is being a guest columnist. Number 7 is HARO, stands for help a reporter out. We'll talk about how you can do that. Number 8, industry groups. Number 9, what you're doing in your community. And then number 10 is, working with your local college. So go ahead and flip. There you go. So acceptance, you really have much more experience than you think, right? You can kind of gauge ways to show your experience and to trust yourself by just considering how long have you been doing what you do. Okay, and it's not necessarily how long have you been in the particular business that you have, especially if you just started the business, but you bring with you years of experience and connections when you're talking about your business. So talk about that. Talk about your years of experience. Talk about the way that you got into what it is you're doing, right? And Simon Sinek has a great book that I love to refer to everybody called Start With Why. And take a look at the book. You don't have to read the whole thing. He's got a great audio version of the book and tons of TED Talks and interviews that he's done. But really, it's all about trusting yourself and your passion, right? You started the business for a particular reason. Work that into your pitch. And then I have a note here on assessments. I'm a big believer in assessments. So I've done Strengths Finders a couple of different times. There's another one called Wealth Dynamics. There are all kinds of assessments that you can take that will help you to really realize how you handle experience, right? And how you can highlight what it is you do, what you're good at, what you're best at, and then what you're better than most people at. So use that to inform how you're going to claim expert status. Okay, so the next slide is your uniqueness. Can you claim to be the first or the only? And I want you in this instance to think about, are you the first person in your area? So are you the first person in Orlando to do XYZ? Or are you the first person in Tampa Bay to do XYZ? Think locally, regionally, and nationally. And then be consistent with your branding and your bragging. Okay, so I'm going to really invite all of you to ignore that advice that your mom had told you years and years ago to stop bragging and that it's not all about you. Brag. Men in business brag all the time. Women in business, we tend to shy away from saying, I've gotten this award, I've done this, I have this certification, I've got 25 years of experience. For whatever reason, we tend to shy away. And our corporate partners have told us they need to know that. They want to know that they're dealing with award-winning entrepreneurs. And speaking of which, you should apply for awards. There's nothing wrong with you self-nominating yourself. And if you're shy about that, contact one of us and we will nominate you. Give us the information that you're applying for, and we're happy to help you along that process. But you really should not be shy about nominating yourself for awards. Okay, tip number 3, writing a white paper. So I have had some very successful business owners come up with processes, and they turn that into a white paper, and that really sets you apart as a business owner. Because as you're meeting in a matchmaking situation, if you have a white paper, if you've got a process that you can share step by step, right? So you could, for example, explain your process by saying, I have a 5-step process that helps you lower costs. Then you just go into the different 5 steps, right? Or you could say, I have a 3-step process that helps you evaluate, educate, and engage your leadership team. The numbers 3, 5, 7, and 10, psychologically, there's something about those numbers. We remember, we pay attention when we hear those kinds of numbers. And so come up with a process, right? Come up with a program that you can talk about and put it together in some kind of a white paper, quote unquote, format. And keep in mind that your white paper does not have to be hundreds of pages long. As a matter of fact, probably 5 pages, 3 pages, maybe tops 5 pages, because between you and me, most people won't read beyond that. Okay, so everyone on this call should be able to come up with some kind of a process and flesh that out into a kind of a white paper. All right, so tip number 4, writing a book. So that's, you know, one step beyond the white paper is writing a book. And I am happy to brag, to inform you all that I have already published a book called The Decision to Scale, 25 Tips for Women-Owned Businesses Looking to Grow Their Business. And what did I just say? 25 tips. So when I was putting this book together, we thought, okay, should we put it in book form or can we just do tips? And it was actually my son who gave me the idea to just call it 25 tips, and each chapter is a tip. Okay, so I think that most people listening in on this call can probably come up with some kind of a book that's similar to that, right? Our next book is going to be geared towards women in corporate America or who are employees at this point and are looking to start their own business. So that book is going to be called The Decision to Start, 25 Tips for Women Looking to Start Their Business. So I hope you're seeing the theme here. It doesn't have to be hundreds of pages. It doesn't have to be really difficult, but you can probably very easily put together a book. Consider a how-to book, consider a collection of interviews. You can reach out and interview women-owned businesses in your area. You can reach out and interview the top business owners in your area. They will be flattered to hear from you and to know that you're doing a collection of interviews in which they will be featured. The book doesn't necessarily have to be only about what you're doing, but it can be about, you know, highlighting you as a resource and as a connector. And then finally, you know, use a ghostwriter. We've got a really good ghostwriter that we know and love. So if you're interested, contact us and we'll give you her information. Okay, tip number 5 is become a speaker. So a lot of people are really anxious and nervous about public speaking. As a matter of fact, you probably know the statistic that say that most people are more afraid of speaking than they are of dying, right? So it's just one of those things, the more you practice, the better. Your local Toastmasters is an incredible place to start. And generally, your local Toastmasters meets once a week, either during the day or in the evening. And you can just type in Toastmasters in your area and you'll probably find a couple of chapters to join. The benefit of Toastmasters is that they are all like you wanting to become better speakers. So all like you, they're looking for support, they're looking for encouragement. Nobody's going to laugh at you. Nobody's going to you know, say that you have no right becoming a speaker, because they all started out just like you, right? And it's a really great way to start in your speaking journey. The National Speakers Association is a couple of levels up. Once you've become a speaker and you want to get accreditation, you can do that through your National Speakers Association. And there are Florida Speakers Associations chapters all over the state, so you can just look into those and get involved there. And then finally, reach out to your chambers of commerce and your industry groups. They're always looking for speakers for their lunch and learns, for their small events, for their different groups. So, once you become more comfortable with speaking, that's also a really good way to reach out and promote your business. Okay, so tip number 6 is all about being a guest columnist. So your local magazines, industry publications are always looking for guest columnists. And you can just kind of apply and say, I am a business owner, I've got this expertise, and I've done research on your magazine, and I think that your readers would like to hear from me as an expert on ABC topic, and then just offer to become a guest columnist. Magazines and journals are always looking for interesting topics and interesting things to offer their readers. And you can also offer to interview local business people as a way to set yourself apart. And Steph McPhee, our very own Steph McPhee, has done that quite successfully. And for, I think it was her local chamber of commerce, she became the woman around town, so to speak, going to different businesses and interviewing the owners and asking them about their business, how they got started, why they're doing what they're doing, how they do it. And I think they were maybe 5 or 10-minute interviews that she did. But imagine how she became an incredible resource and a go-to person, because she now has this group of business owners that she knows a lot about, right? So that's something that you can do as well. Let's go to tip number 7. Let's see. Oh, HARO. That's the acronym for Help a Reporter Out. And you can just go to haro.com and you can sign up as a reporter or as a resource. And reporters are always looking for experts. I get calls very often, what's it like for women-owned businesses during the time of the pandemic? Or, how would you suggest that small businesses prepare for hurricanes? What is it a good time to start a business? So they're always asking for questions about business owners, and sometimes it's very technical questions too. So when you sign up for Help a Reporter Out, you can let them know what your expertise is, and then be prepared to answer quickly, okay? Because they are often working on a deadline. So they're not going to keep reaching out to you. If you get a call or an email, be sure to be quick about what it is you're going to say. Reply quickly. Maybe do some background work, right? Get your statistics all in order before you make the call. Get your stories that you're going to share, the experience you're going to share, get that all kind of outlined before you make that call so that you sound great. Have some quotes at the ready, right? And then the more you do this, the better, because you'll be known as the expert in your area. You'll be quoted, and you'll get even more opportunities. All right, so tip number 8 is your local industry group. So sometimes we get very caught up in our own industry, right? And in our own services and products. And I'm going to invite that you look at ancillary industries, right? So if you're in construction and you belong already to construction groups, how about landscaping groups, or how about janitorial groups, right? So the more you know, again, it's all about being a resource. The more you know about what's going on within your industry and the ancillary industries to your industry, the better and more well-rounded you are as a resource. Also, I suggest that you go where your clients go, right? So if you've got corporations as clients and you're dealing, for example, with the supplier diversity programs within these corporations, there are industry groups that they go to. There's this, I can't remember, it's the ISM, the Institute of Supplier Management group, and they get extra training on supplier diversity and supply chain management and all. And if you can join those groups, then you become, again, this greater resource to your clients. All right, so slide number 9, or tip number 9, has to do with community groups, right? People do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. The more you're involved in your community, the more you stand out. It starts locally and it grows nationally and globally, right? Remember that old saying that says, think locally, or act locally and think globally, or I can't remember if it's the other way around, but you get the point. Start locally, right? The important thing is show your community that you are vested, you're invested in the growth of your community. Show your employees that you're really interested in the groups they participate in the things that are important to them. And that's how you're going to set yourself apart. Most corporate representatives and large corporations, they're really good corporate citizens, and they encourage their employees to participate in these community groups. That's where you're going to get to know people, and once you get to know people, they begin to recognize you, they begin to like you, and they trust you, and then your name is top of mind when it comes to a potential opportunity. Right, and then finally, tip number 10 is your local college. So, you know, I think in all communities, there's a college or a university, and they're always looking for adjunct professors, or the professors that are on staff are always looking for business owners and mentors. So set yourself up as, if you can, become an adjunct professor. And it kind of keeps you at the cutting edge of what's going on, right? Because if you've got to put a curriculum together for a classroom of college students, generally in their 20s, early 20s, then you need to really be on top of your game. And that research is going to inform how you might start thinking differently about your own business. So I always suggest that you look to your local college and university as not only a resource, but as a way of giving back. And if you happen to live in the same community of your alma mater, they are going to be really thrilled that you contact them and say, I'm a local business person, I do XYZ, and I would love to share my knowledge with your students as a guest lecturer or as an adjunct professor. Okay, so next let's do just a basic recap of the 10 ways to claim expert status. Accept and trust yourself that you have more knowledge and experience than you probably think. Your uniqueness, highlight what is it about you that sets you apart from the competition. Don't forget to write some white papers. They don't have to be hundreds of pages long. Outline a process that you're doing. Number 4 is writing a book, right? And remember, you don't have to write the next Pulitzer Prize winning book. You can write a book that just sets you up as an expert, and you give it out when you're speaking. You send it to potential clients. Number 5 is speaking opportunities. Really take advantage of speaking opportunities. If you don't want to be a keynote speaker, at least get your pitch right? So your pitch is, 90 seconds to 3 minutes long. That is really going to set you apart and give you tons and tons of business opportunities. Number 6 is offer yourself up as a guest columnist. Show off your expertise that way. Number 7, let's see, number 7, help a reporter out. Go on and sign up at haro.org. Number 8 is look at your industry groups. What is it what are the ancillary industries or operations that you can take advantage of? Number 9, show off your community spirit. Become involved in your community. And then finally, number 10, offer yourself up as an adjunct professor or as a guest lecturer at your local college. All right, so those are the tips. Now, I haven't been able to see whether or not we've had any questions because I don't have the chat up, but we're happy to answer any questions. Let's see. Oh, somebody says that Toastmasters is amazing, so I'm glad to confirm that. Yes, it is a really great organization. And then someone says, as a former and sometimes current business journalist, I can vouch for the usefulness of HARO for reporters. Always respond quickly to queries, though. Most reporters are on tight deadlines. Yeah, we did highlight that. Okay, and then someone, I guess, is she's offering to help you with white papers, books, and guest columnists. So good, check this person out.
Nancy, could I have you talk a little bit, because this was a big thing when I started working with you on LinkedIn and how you use that article feature. You've been publishing on LinkedIn for a while, but how I think that has really helped you build a following as well.
Right. So LinkedIn, I think is probably one of the best things we have done, right? And the thing with LinkedIn is you have to be consistent with it. And I've seen more and more people start even doing short videos on LinkedIn. So that's something we're going to start looking into. But the consistency, the book that I was talking about that we've published, the 25 Tips book, that really started out because someone read my Tuesday toolbox. So for years, every Tuesday, we would publish a business development tool. And really, it was a blog. It was, 250 to 300 words. And we had a monthly theme. And every week, I would write a little bit, about the monthly theme. And there was really no pressure for me personally because it was just a blog that I was putting up on LinkedIn. Then I got contacted by someone who said, wow, these are incredible. You should turn these into a book. And I thought, that was like the furthest thing from my mind as I was doing the Tuesday Toolbox series. So I hired an editor, and she looked at all of them and she said, you have 3 books, maybe 4 books here. And so that started the process. And truthfully, had I started out writing a book, I would still be on, the introduction of this book. But I am now, over the course of the next year, going to be publishing 3 more books because I was consistent with these blogs. So you can use LinkedIn as a really great way to establish something that you're going to do consistently that is going to eventually turn into something you can put together into a book. You can use LinkedIn to set yourself apart as well by commenting on other people's blogs and position papers, right? So if you are looking to do business with a corporation, by all means, join that group, follow them, and comment on the articles that they put out. You don't have to do more than say, what a great article. These are the top 3 things I got out of this article, and I'm going to be sharing it with my contacts. Do that enough times, you will eventually get flagged by them and get noticed. So yes, by all means, use LinkedIn as a really great way to set yourself apart.
Thank you. I also, if you don't mind me adding, I think, you mentioned this about the organization. So feel free if you have, I mean, obviously we're busy, but do something in organization that relates back to your business. So for me, Nancy knows this, a lot of people do, like with the chamber and every organization, I'm on a board of something, I always sign up to do their communications and social media and video, anything like that, because that's my business. And they will jump at the opportunity, but to Nancy's point, then that can turn into, who knows what, and then everybody gets to know you. But it's a really a win-win. Signing up to say, hey, I offer this service. Can I do that as part? And it's amazing too, how you can get very creative with depending on what your service is, offering that to the local chambers. So for example, the ghostwriter, if you're trying to get more words out, offering to write an article for them, for the president of the chamber once a week or whatever. And then, they'll be happy to promote that you actually help do that to other members of the chamber. So Nancy is just a wealth of information. So I put a link up in there to, we have a new webpage that has all of our contact details on it. It's going to be at the bottom of every email going forward. So if you ever want to email any of us and set up a time to chat, we are all, that's one of our favorite things, I think, right, everybody? It's one of our favorite things to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and if you need more information on any of the tips, reach out to us as well, because we've got lots of resources that we can share with you.
You guys brought up something else, and that is getting involved. So when you get involved in the community, don't just go to things. Try to get involved in actually the leadership of that, because that does establish you as a business, as a leader in your business. So, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir. I'm sure most of the people on this call have been on boards before, but it really does make a difference. And you're not just being on a board just to be on a board. You're actually picking up new skills. So, with my business and writing, marketing, and all those kinds of things, I've picked up skills in programs, in creating events. So now I can create really big events without being intimidated. I started off really small, creating local tiny community events. Now I can do global events, and it's just a way to build those skills. So again, with things like Toastmasters, in addition to speaking at places like that where you are speaking for practice, once you're involved in an organization where you're in the leadership, you are going to have to give presentations, things like that, in front of an audience. So it's a great way to develop your skills and your expertise all at the same time.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of speaking opportunities by just contacting our local partner organizations and saying, if you need a speaker at the last minute because somebody got sick, because there's a conflict, here are the topics I can speak on. And I've gotten several calls, kind of the day before, Nancy, can you help us out because so-and-so can't make the meeting? And that's a really great way to show off your talent and to provide a service. And then they will inevitably say, Nancy came in at the last minute to help us out. And that really sets you apart as someone that who can be counted on to help out. So don't hesitate to contact your local chambers or your local women's groups and say, I'm local and I'm available if you ever need me, need someone at the last minute, I'm available, and then list out 2, 3, 4 topics that you can speak on.
I'll piggyback on that because this was a very neat thing. I used to live down the road. Nancy's been to where I used to live near a hotel. And one of the things their event director told me was get to know, if you live near a big resort or something, get to know the event planning team, because especially now, think about it, if people need to cancel or whatever, they love to have a list of speakers on certain topics that they may be able to reach out in case anybody ever cancels. That was just such an eye-opening tip for me, and especially where we all live here in Florida, where there's so many conferences. And I know right now we're in a different time, but as those things start, again, just something to keep in mind to let businesses know. And there's even going to be a hybrid. I know, Diane, we're looking at this for the Greens Conference. There's going to be some hybrids here in Florida where they will let local people come, and then they'll be doing virtual opportunities. So just always, I just loved that tip of reaching out and getting to know. If you have, like I do, 3 miles down the road, I have a huge complex that hosts a lot of conferences. So I know the event people up there, they know me. And if they ever need a speaker, you know, they can recommend me to the organization. So I think that's such a fun tip.
Great idea.
Well, gosh, I think, you know, I just want to appreciate everybody. April Caldwell put something interesting in there about some events that she's offering. So again, thank you guys so very much. I want to recommend, if you have not already, to jump into, we have the new free Florida growth community that we started over on Facebook. A lot of people, you've jumped in. We're having some really good conversations. We post all of this stuff in there, and then of course we've got our website. But if you want to keep these conversations going, feel free to jump over and join that community. It is free. You don't have to be a WBE certified yet, although obviously we want you to. We got a community for you guys as well. But please jump in, and we can continue these kind of conversations Monday to Monday. And then I know next Monday we are having a presentation by our own Emily. And oh my gosh, Emily, I'm sorry I forgot the topic, even though I just put it in the marketing. But yes, we will make sure we get everything. Oh, that's okay, Emily. Yeah, I'll make sure we get that out to everybody. So stay tuned to the emails. Yeah, the Facebook page, if you go in and put WBEC Growth Community, it'll come up. Don't negotiate against yourself. I'm so sorry, just slipped my head as soon as I was talking about it. So we will have another great topic. Don't negotiate yourself. This is a huge one. I think piggybacks great off of the expert status, right? Because we are very good at negotiating ourselves out of anything.
That's so true. So
right.
I remember being at an auction where my husband and I were bidding against each other. And the auctioneer was like this, oh, rookies. Presentation.
Oh my gosh.
Steph, before we wrap up, you want to tell everybody about the survey that we just sent out?
That's exactly right. Thank you. I had remembered halfway through, and then no, this is, so yes, if you checked your email today, you would have seen that we got we sent a survey out this morning. So what we are doing, like a lot of folks, is that we want to take a pulse point of where you guys all are during this COVID journey. And so, as you know, we were doing a lot of things, weekly calls, all of that in this last quarter. Now, as we start summer and we get into this, it's sort of a shift, right? June, July, August. And so we want to use this survey as an opportunity to see where you are and what kinds of programs and services. So this is not only for our WBEs, this is for anybody. We've shared it on Facebook and in our email. So please, you know, take it. It literally, what we've seen today is taking people less than 4 minutes to take it on average. So it's a quick survey, and we would really appreciate your feedback, because it's going to help us determine in the coming weeks what else we can do to help support you in your business. So, and thank you, Joanna, for putting in the, unfortunately, I can't talk and type at the same time. But yes, please make sure that you just take a few minutes. We really appreciate it. And then stay tuned as we get those results in the coming weeks and start creating some more programs that'll be coming down. So, and again, stay tuned. Nancy's book, I think, is going live this week. So we will be getting out that information. And we just really want to encourage all of you guys to continue to do what you do for your pivoting, your transitioning, everything you're doing. You amaze us every day. We think you are awesome at how you are winning out there, and just continue to know we are here to support you every day. So have a fabulous week, our friends. We will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.